Welcome to the Superconscious Success Podcast, where Jen and her Superconscious Success family co-hosts bring you valuable content each and every week on topics relating to manifestation, spirituality, and most of all, using your superconscious to manifest success in all areas of your life. Now on to today's episode.
Hey there, Superconscious Success fam. Just before we get into the interview, this is just a brief message. This is actually a recording of the 2021 Superconscious Success Summit interviews. If you do want to check out the introductory for all of the guests, then you can go across to our Superconscious Success YouTube channel where you'll be able to find all the introductions. These particular podcast interviews will be the interview only. Okay, thank you. Now let's get on to the interview. Hi there, Superconscious Success fam. Welcome back to another incredible interview on the Superconscious Success Super Summit. So today we are actually going to be talking to Jennifer Urezzio about soul languages. And I am super excited because I don't know much about it. And I love to talk to people that have content that I haven't learned much about, and I'm learning along with you. So it's fantastic. If you have not yet listened to Jennifer's story, head across to the Superconscious Success YouTube channel because she has told all about her story, the connections that she made that allowed her to actually discover her own soul languages. And as we are going to go through in this interview, discovering your soul languages will actually allow you to manifest at greater levels and to turn those intangible into tangible, which is obviously something we're all looking for. But on top of that, there is also so many other benefits to discovering your soul language. So let's get stuck straight into it. Hey, Jennifer, how are you today?
Hello, how are you? It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
And it's such a pleasure to have you here. I've been really looking forward to this interview, I have to say. And as I am sure the listeners will be as well, to discover more about our souls and to discover more about the importance of us connecting. Because myself, I discovered also that my purpose is connection, and in helping others to connect with their higher selves and to connect with source on deeper levels, so that they're able to manifest and they're able to, as you said in the introduction, go with the flow of life, which is what we're all looking for. We don't want the struggle, and to know that just by tapping into that soul, we have the potential to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's really important. I think so often, people are trying to do their life and create based on their head and their programming. And so they're operating at half of their power because they're operating based of pain and struggle.
And you're operating for more of an ego base as opposed to more of the higher self soul base. And it's true. And then we start to resist against what could be so easy. And as I often say, I call them downloads from source, that once you start to work with your intuition and you start to work with the soul and with your higher self, then things just start to flow to you. You'll start getting the ideas, you'll start getting the people coming into your life that are really going to help you on your journey, and wonderful people like you that can help people to discover their soul language. So can we first start off by, can you go into what the soul is and
Sure.
how it also correlates with our agendas in this world?
Our soul is our essential nature. It is a part of the one. So it's the individual drop within the big divinity, right? And so if you want to think of it as the drop in the ocean, right? It's both individual and both part of the one. And our soul holds all of our information from all of our incarnations across the board. So it's collecting all of this information. And most of our soul is not within this frame, right? So the more programming you have, that's less of the soul that can actually kind of run through the system. When you release the programming, you're inviting more soul, more of that divinity within you. And the soul kind of is here to help guide us. It's here to help direct us. It's here to help learn about love and experience more ways of expressing love.
Yeah. So the soul, as you say, we have the soul with us forever. That is our unique individual part of us. And so that goes through every lifetime with us. And so can you define, when we talk about the soul, can you define what you mean by the soul languages and
Sure.
why it's really important that we discover our soul language?
Yeah. So think of it this way. Think of it, you're over on the other side wherever we go, and you're sitting down at this big table. I'm visual, silly human things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, okay, so here's what I want to achieve this time, right? I want to achieve huge amounts of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what core energies of divinity do I need to support experiencing that? And so then you choose three. So you choose from three different categories. Your mission, and that's not about doing, everyone. Your mission is what you're profoundly here to experience and
Yeah.
then offer that experience to others,
Mm-hmm.
right? The second category is like how you'll be known here. And then the third category of soul language is soulful personality, how your soul prefers to go through life.
Yes.
So based on someone's three core energies of soul, their three languages, I can give a one-liner to every soul on this planet. So
Okay.
my one, and that's your mild marker of consciousness, right? If you're not being and doing that, you're going to feel like you're in struggle.
Yeah.
So my one-liner is I create balance for myself and others through love, integrity, and courage. And that's based on my three soul languages. My mission language is called equalizer. It's all about balance.
Mm-hmm.
My how I'll be known here is called teacher of integrity. So all of my life, I've been able to see where people are out of the consciousness of love. I offer them the chance to get back in, which what means what? They're back into balance. They're back into harmony. They can create and become an unstoppable train of
Mm-hmm.
goodness. And then the last category, which is about that soulful personality, for me is called graceful warrior, action, movement, courage, and grace, right? But most of my life, not graceful at all, war with everything, right?
Yeah.
That's the pain, that's the programming. When I realized that I didn't have to do that, and
Mm.
I'm simplifying all of this, by the way,
Yeah.
right? I moved back into grace, which means a whole bunch of new stuff opened up in my life. And
Yeah.
I was able to receive more. I would be able to create more. So you want to understand, you want to put words to what you know of your soul languages, to what you know is true, because then you can consciously use them to
Yeah.
create abundance in the life that you desire. Otherwise, you're kind of operating from a place of being blind
Yeah.
about what is potentially yours to work with.
Oh, that's really intriguing, because I've often said my purpose in this life is connection. And as I said, it's about connecting people with their higher self and helping them to discover their higher self. And so if we were to look at the soul language, connection, would that be a mission word that I would use, or is that the right category that I would put that into?
I would call what your mission here is connection more of a statement
Yeah.
than, right? So, mission languages are things like prophet, politician, mentor, negotiator, and those are fundamental core energies of the universe to support humanity's evolution and
Yeah.
the evolution of soul understanding love. So connection is also my purpose, right?
Yeah.
But that's more of a statement of how
Yeah.
that expresses rather than the core energy of your mission. I think so many people are so mixed up about mission and purpose,
Yeah.
and they're all focused on the doing of it,
Yeah.
where they forget about the being.
Mm-hmm.
So I know if I'm not balanced, I'm going to feel off purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to feel like, right, I'm not doing enough. Where are my people? Like, I could go
Yeah.
on and on, right?
Yeah.
So for someone whose purpose language might be negotiator, if they feel that they're not creating agreements that are balanced, that they're part of the service agreement, meaning that everyone is a win-win situation and they're included in the win-win,
Yeah.
then they're going to feel off purpose.
Okay.
So it's very simple and complex all at the same time, but
Yeah.
it gives humans a very kind of human-like way to connect with their essential nature, so they can really create that clear conscious connection. So they're utilizing, you're always going to hear spirit and soul through layers of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the key here is to have those layers as clear as possible,
Mm,
without pain or struggle or programming. Because you're human, you're always going to hear it through a human's intelligence, so to speak,
yeah. And so
right?
when you talk about programming, is that to do with your subconscious that we talk about reprogramming, or is there something different that we're talking about here?
Programming is those unsustainable beliefs
Yeah, the
that
limit.
are keeping you, limiting programming, that is keeping you in that kind of sometimes very subtle
Mm,
circle of suffering, right? For people who've been on the path for a while, like you and me, we're not moving boulders.
no.
We're moving one grain of sand across the beach, right?
Hmm.
And so we can, as your consciousness grows, everyone,
Yeah.
so does the ego, because it gets
Yeah.
clever. And let's be clear, without ego, we wouldn't get off our couch. We need that ego, but we needed the mind to follow the heart.
Yeah.
And so this allows the mind something to do
Hmm.
and really hear that soul from the heart perspective. It also gives people a way to um, understand fundamentally why they be and do what they do,
Yeah.
because it's their nature.
Excellent. Okay, and so some of the benefits of using our soul languages. You, as I was looking through your website, you use it for to improve your businesses
Yeah.
and relationships. So, what are some of the benefits of really tapping into that?
Yeah. So just imagine for a moment that you were a pioneer. That's a soul language of a mission. Okay. So pioneers consciously forge new roads and they receive the benefits of those new roads.
Mm-hmm.
Unconsciously, they're like a bright, shiny object. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Nothing gets completed and they always feel alone and unsupported.
Yeah.
Okay. So just imagine for a moment that you were putting, I feel alone, unsupported, bright, shiny object into every relationship you would have.
Uh,
How are those relationships going to turn out? How is your business going to expand when you just keep creating things
but don't
and
finish
never
anything.
nurturing? Right.
Yeah.
Or never closing, or you're always feeling like you're not being supported. So it's very practical to understand your soul languages.
Yeah.
So it really understands, since we're a relationship with everything in this planet, including ourselves, right? It really gives you a key understanding of what you're putting into the relationship field between you and everything else.
Yeah.
And then you can go, oh, wait, I'm doing the same thing again.
Hmm.
For me, it would be like, oh, wait, great. I'm making war with everything.
So it's more about like when you know about your soul languages, because these soul languages, they don't change as you go through. They're your
This
soul.
lifetime, yes. This
Okay.
lifetime, they do not change. Um, because that would be really freaking confusing for
Yeah,
us,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing, you had your back when you chose them.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, right? And so these are natural ways of being. And I
Mhm.
think what happens is most people fight their natural way of being because they were told, oh, no, no, you can't do that.
It's
Or
not
no,
okay.
that's not safe. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, I think, and that's where the resistance comes in, because we've been told as we've grown up, it's not okay to be like this. You've got to be like everybody else. It's not okay to be unique and to be different. And then our ego does play a part, and we need to start listening to our higher self and listening to our soul. And so do you find that you were talking about your friend in the intro, and you connected, and so when you have the same soul language as somebody else, is that when you form a deep connection? Is that when?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can form a deep connection or you can have an instant distaste. It
Yeah.
tends to be very intense. But
Okay.
what also it happens is when you meet someone who you have the same soul language, there's an amplification of power.
Okay.
So say you and I were both graceful warriors and we wanted to create a program together. Okay.
Mhm.
So if we're both acting consciously, that's a lot of courage,
Yeah.
a lot of strength for people to be attracted to. If we weren't operating consciously, we would be at war with each other
Yeah.
and everything we touched in regards to that programming. So there's an amplification of huge power when you meet someone. And there's also a deep sense of shared understanding about experiences, right?
Okay.
So often when I'm talking to a teacher of integrity, that's how I'll be known here. Um, you know, we tend to be very black and white sometimes,
Mhm.
and so I can say, "Oh no, it's purple," and a teacher of integrity automatically understands all of the layers of that comment, right? And so it becomes a very quick form of communication
Yep.
because we just we obviously know the path that we're already going to take, so to speak. So there's just so much amazingness that can come from understanding someone you speak same soul language. Now, here's a great story. I would hire assistants because I always identify my support team's soul languages
Yeah.
that were negotiators. That's a mission language. And
Okay.
I thought, yay, they're going to forge new agreements for me. They would just disappear. And in the process of my disappearing assistants, my mom, who's a great mom, asked me to go, hey, can you identify my soul languages? And guess what soul language my mom spoke? Negotiator.
Oh,
Right?
no.
So I was like, oh my God, I can't work out my mommy issues with my staff, right? So
Yeah.
once I healed that, I found the perfect woman who doesn't speak a negotiator, but right. So it also helps you understand when you have friction with a certain soul language that you already know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, so I keep attracting this energy for deep healing for myself to come in alignment
Yeah.
and to heal anything that I have in conflict with that energy of divinity, because it's all divine,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Wow. Okay. So by you healing that relationship with your mum, who was a negotiator, then the next one that you brought in wasn't a negotiator, though, right?
No, but here's the thing that happened with my mom, which was so great. Once I realized it, you know, I I came out, I was staying at her house and I came out with this lipstick and she's like, I hate that lipstick. And I was like, oh, she's negotiating. Okay. I'm not going to rise. Like, I'm not going to go for the war. I'm
Yep.
going to go, oh, well, I like it. And she paused and she goes, let me tell you why I don't like it. It's not because I don't like it on you. I don't like it because it reminds me of so and so.
Uh-huh.
Right? And I was like, whoa, look at that, right?
Yeah.
Because I was not in conflict, there was no more war, the war was dropped, right? And so it allows you to have more sustainable, more healthy, more amazing relationships because you're not putting pain and programming into everything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's really about how you react to a situation. It's not the situation itself. And the thing is, I mean, I've got two teenagers. So I've got a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old. And if I was to react every time they
Right.
act up, then we all know that the world is energy. We all know that we're all energy, and we all know that vibration is where the magic happens. And so if we are wanting to manifest and we're wanting to turn that intangible into tangible, we need to keep our vibrations at a high level. Now, when we're resisting, as you were talking about with your mum, because you just didn't give her any conflict, you didn't
Right.
resist it, then it had nowhere else to go. You can't fight with one person. Like, it
Right.
takes two people to keep an
Exactly.
argument going. So I think that's incredible. I think that's so that really teaches us that it's our reactions that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it's what we're putting into the relationship field. So the more about that you know about you, the more that you love you, the more that you
Yeah.
accept you, you're putting that into the relationship field. So my mom took that opportunity to do something new, right? When we're bringing the intangible into tangible, here's something, and if anyone listens to nothing but here's this statement will change your life. everything has already been created for
Yeah.
you to make the intangible to the tangible, even prior to you actually thinking or speaking it.
Yep.
Your job is to do the internal action and then the external action.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they happen chicken and the egg, and
Yep.
sometimes they happen opportunity then internal, or internal then opportunity. And I think so often people, I had a client call yesterday about the stock market, and he's like, I'm visualizing it going green, green, green. I was like, yeah, don't. He's like, what? He's like, I've been told to visualize. Like, so you're trying to control something
Yeah.
that everyone else is trying to control. Like, there's so much free will involved in there. Don't. I
Yeah.
was like, why do you want the stock market? Why do you want more money? And he's like, because I want to be free. And I was like,
Well, that's the feeling
that's
you need to feel.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the internal. Let's open up that feeling. Right. And
Yeah.
he goes, oh, oh, my connection just opened up. I was like, uh-huh. He's like, my heart. I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah. Because
Now keep doing that.
yeah, well, because the thing is that when you look at the law of attraction, you look at manifestation, and you start to realize that we do not have control over how something happens.
Right.
That is not on our watch. That is the universe's job, and it's also the
Exactly.
universe's job to decide when it's going to happen. But as you said, everything that we want to manifest is already there long before we've actually even
Yeah.
thought of it,
Yeah.
because we've had it accruing time and time again, but you cannot bring it into fruition until you focus on it.
Right.
So
And here's the thing, Jennifer, that I think people, often treat the universe, God, tree,
mhm,
Bob, whatever you want to call that, like it has free will. It
yeah,
doesn't,
doesn't know.
right? And so when things aren't happening the way you want them, or they're taking longer, it's because that universal force has to line up all of the things to
Yep,
make that tangible. And that takes time.
it
And
does
so
take
if you
time.
go, right, if you go, if you're, I call it good noise pollution. You're doing the good noise pollution, and then you go, oh, wait, it didn't happen, I'm done. Well,
Yeah,
then if all the balls in the air just drop,
yeah,
right?
and
And I think
then you
so
have to
often,
start all over again.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, I often tell this story. I was driving in a car on my way home from seeing a friend, and I was in a crappy mood. And I was like, listen, God, I want to make sure that you know who I am. I want proof. I want proof about my dead dad that's helping me. I want proof now. And I turn on the radio, and there's a song that reminds me of my dad. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not proof. That's easy. So I'm driving along, and the guy's chatting, and he's like, hey, thanks for calling in all of those, oldies from those clubs. And he goes to name all the clubs. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, and Brothers 3. And I drive off the side of the road, because Brothers 3 was the name of my father's bar that he owned with his brothers that I even forgot he had.
Oh wow.
And I thought, oh, that's exactly what I thought. Oh, wow. Right. So often there's all of this stuff that's happening below the surface, but we can't see it
Yeah.
because we're insisting that it has to be this way.
Yeah, exactly. And then we end up having to start all over again, because our vibration, we've kind of given up. If it doesn't happen by tomorrow, then it's never going to happen. But if you just realize that it's like them creating a storyline. It's like them creating a movie. That takes a lot of time to put all of those pieces together to be able to get the
Yeah.
product. And we cannot expect that the universe is going to go, done,
Right.
in like 2 seconds. Yes, sometimes this does happen, but often it is a long time of preparation that the universe has actually put into place from beliefs that we have had. It's like people that, they look at their bank accounts, and they have this poverty mentality, and they look at the bank account and they go, oh, no money again. I've got all these bills I have to pay, and I don't know how I'm going to survive another week, and I don't get paid. And what they say, too much fortnight before the next pay, or whatever they say. But they don't realize that the money that's in the bank account is because of past beliefs that we've
Right.
already had. If we're able to go through those blocks and, as you say, change that programming, then you can actually get to a place where you don't have that happening anymore. And these feelings of freedom that we were talking about before, that's what we need to be focusing on, is how
Yeah.
would you feel if you never had to worry about that ever again?
Yep. Declare, 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 declare. Right. I'm a master prayer writer. I write affirmative prayers for people.
Yeah,
And, I'm like, stop praying small. They're
yeah,
like, what? I
absolutely.
was like, don't pray for the next client. They're like, what? I was like, pray for freedom. Pray
Yeah,
for what? Love. Pray big.
yeah,
Right. Those are the ones that will overcome and change the DNA, the replicating factor of the DNA. So you are creating based on a belief of abundance and enough.
yeah,
Listen, you're never going to eradicate everything, right? This is about you having tools to really put into the universal goo your goodness so that is reflected back to you tenfold. And when we understand our essential nature, when we understand our power, we
yeah,
can utilize it rather than trying to force the universe to comply with
yeah.
what we want.
Absolutely. And what can we do if we are wanting to determine our soul language so that we can really figure out that power that is within us? What is the next best step that we can take?
Yeah, well, don't tell everyone, Jennifer, but no, really, seriously, I do a discovery session where I ID one of the three languages as my gift. So
Oh,
that's kind of the first step for people.
yes.
Um, a soul language ID is the full step where we identify your three soul languages. But
Okay.
to get people started right here, right now, I want you just to tap into your heart
Yeah.
and just ask what's the first internal thing that you activate to
Okay.
receive freedom.
Right. That
And
is
then start activating it, going divine intelligence, activate whatever you heard in my body fully and completely.
okay. And so, can you briefly just go over again the three different types of love languages so people may be able to tap into those on a deeper level?
Sure. There's three different categories.
Yeah.
Okay. So your mission, how you feel that mission or how you'll be known,
Yes.
and then your soulful personality. There's 107 core energies across those three different categories.
Yeah.
But right now, you just get to activate whatever you need to do so your body feels like free, that you feel free in your
That you feel
energy.
free. Yeah.
And then put that in everything. And when all else fails, you ask divine intelligence, your body, to activate safety.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of what pain and struggles about, is about that fear of not being safe. So
Hmm.
when you feel safe, you can make decisions based on that. And
Yeah.
then my last piece of guidance is, I always tell clients, ask this question of yourself. If you knew you were whole and complete, what would you say? What would you be? What would you do in that situation? And that will be a game changer.
Excellent. Fantastic. That's great. And if you guys would like to learn more about soul languages, Jennifer is the place to go. Can you please tell us what your website is and what's available there?
Sure. It's soullanguage.us.
Hmm.
There's a lot of audios, there's a discovery session, there's a lot of free gifts. You can contact me directly via email or phone. I do answer my own email and pick up my own phone. If you're in Australia and you call me, you'll get my high squeaky voice because I'll probably be sleeping. But it's soullanguage.us. Go explore, check out the free stuff. And if you have any questions, just shoot me off an email.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Jennifer. We have learned a lot and I've really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to discovering my three soul languages and seeing the difference that it can make with the relationships that you form and probably also make you understand the reasons why you're connected to some people and not so much to others. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And
Thank you. It was great being here.
yeah, and it was great having you here. And I will direct everybody to go back to the playbook and have a bit more of a read through Jennifer's stuff. And yep, and we will catch you later, Jennifer.